Hey everybody, you are listening to the Zero Altitude Outdoor Podcast with your host, Brandon Garrett. For this podcast, we would like to thank Txtorches, offering quality lighting solutions at affordable prices. Our favorite are their headlamps, the Elite Series and the Predator Series. Super bright LED, fully waterproof, rechargeable, backed by a limited lifetime warranty. That's Texas tough. You can reach them at Txtorches.com. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode, Zero Altitude Outdoors. I'm Brandon, and I'm on the line with Shelby. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Brandon? Out here in West Virginia, down here in my office at the house.
So Shelby's back home. It's really hard for us to do stuff together since we live so far apart. So we're doing everything we can, trying every platform we can, and experimenting to try to get you guys some content and to make it the best as we can. But anyway, it's been a while since we had a podcast. Man, we've been busy working on some other projects, some other videos that I've been putting together. I've been behind, so I've been trying to put that, up in the priority list. And I've got some good stuff coming. So today we want to talk a little bit about our gear list. Seems to be a question among hunters nowadays, especially new hunters. There's a lot of new hunters coming in to the scene. So, we just wanted to give a breakdown of, what we run, why we run it, just a little bit of our experience, we're not professionals by any means, but this is just what we learned, and we'll just share our experiences with you guys. So we got a few questions that we've been asked that we want to go over before we go through our gear list. What do you think about that?
That sounds good. Get these questions knocked out.
So, first question is, what determines our gear list, and how does that differ from each hunt that we go on? So, what do you think about that?
Question. That's a great question.
It's a great question.
So, what determines our gear list? I would start with time of year. What season are we going to be hunting in?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's gonna be your basis for what type of gear and necessities that you would need to make that hunt possible.
Right. It all starts with what type of hunt are you looking for? Archery, early season hunt, a late season hunt, cold. Do you want to pack in, backpack, pack in, never come back? Or, do you want to spike camp, or do you got a big fifth wheel? It all depends on what type of hunt that you're looking for and what season it is. That's where we start as a basis of what gear we're going to need. So, like in Montana, this hunt right here, it's our early archery season hunt for us. We've been to Montana before. Montana's kind of like Colorado. It may be 85 degrees at one point in the day, and another part of the day it's snowing.
Yep.
So we have seen that. Or a little afternoon rain shower in the mountains. That seems to happen every day. But
with a little bit of hail mixed in.
Yeah. So to answer that question, I think it all starts with, what kind of hunt you're looking for, what season it is, and what type of experience that you want. Or the area. Maybe the area that you're going in, won't allow a pack in. What if it's too small and it's just a day hunting area? You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, that was a great question. Next question is, what holster do you recommend? So I'm assuming he's talking about like a pistol holster, chest holster. Okay, he says chest holster or side holster. So I believe he's talking about weapon, I'm guessing bear country.
Yeah, I would. Well, it's funny. It's funny we got that question too, because I am actually in the process of picking my holster for my pack. What we did in Montana 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So what I was running was with my Badlands Vario pack, my Vario 65. I had a little holster built in side of it. And it was okay for us in bear country, but that wasn't ideal for me. It would have kind of worked, but there was a couple of problems that I didn't like. Is number one, when I took my pack off, my gun went with it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it didn't stay with me. The other problem that I had is it was on the waistband, around the waistband on the side, but it was a little far back, and it was it wasn't a natural draw for me. So that it got us through. But luckily, thank goodness, we didn't need to
need to use
fire
it
or need that weapon.
Yeah.
But I saw yours, which I'll let you talk about a little bit. I saw your setup with the chest deal that you got, and I really like that. But I'll let you, since you ran that at that time, I'll let you talk about that.
Okay, so I run the Rasco gear, the Rasco chest holster. It attaches to the bottom of my harness. I have it right here, actually. That's it right there. It attaches to the bottom of my FHF Gear harness. Okay, and it's right here. I like it. It's not in the way. It's not bulky. It's rugged, and it's real tight. You can snug up the straps, but it's right here. Arm's reach. It's kind of a natural reaching area, and kind of like Shelby mentioned, man, I have it when I take off my pack. I still have it on me. So it's really fast. I'm very fast with it, and I still have it on me. If I have to pull off my pack for some reason, if you pull off your pack once you down an animal or whatever, you still have it. We take breaks and everything else, so you want to be ready. And I really didn't think about all of that when I got it, but I'm glad I got it. But yeah. I do like it. And I do see more positives than negatives with it, and it's been a good one. I got two of them now, actually. I got one for my 9mm and one for my 45. So this year I'll be running my 45. So, good question.
Well, and with that, so with my bino system, I have the Badlands Bino XR. So I have my binos and my rangefinder in the same pouch, or in the same case. And it's magnetic, where yours has the option to connect at the bottom. Mine does not. So I had to go out and research what type of different holsters. I looked at shoulder holsters. I looked at the chest holsters. And I actually come across a alien holster, chest holster. And I'm going to actually be purchasing that to do that. Now, what we noticed in a couple of videos is we run that strap over the opposite shoulder, and then I can run that holster a little bit lower towards my midsection, and where it'll fit right under my bino harness, kind of like what yours does. It just won't be connected. It'll be
right.
I'll wear my alien holster, put it on first, then my bino XR, then my pack.
Right. So you're transitioning from a side holster to a chest holster.
Correct.
So that's a good one, guys. Highly recommend the chest holster. Rasco Gear makes a good one. And you found what, Alien Gear?
Alien Gear, yep.
Alien Gear.
I can give a shout out too. Who kind of turned me on to that was PNW Huntress. She's on Instagram. She's with the Badlands pro staff. So I saw her with it. She just did an Alaskan trip, and I reached out to her, and she shot me a little video and a link. So I was able to pick that up and check it out. And Brandon and I looked at it, and like I said, so for me, and I watched Brandon. So Brandon was very quick on the draw with that holster. Very easy for him to get access to it. And what we actually ended up doing is talking about it is in a bear situation, if we came in contact with it, Brandon's going for his gun. I'm going for the bear spray. Just because my holster, like I said, on the waistband of that was not ideal on my pack. And I was able to get my bear spray way faster.
Yeah.
I could get just.
Yeah. You don't want to be fumbling in the moment.
No. So for me, watching you get as quick of a draw with that chest holster, plus having it on you all the time, for whatever we're doing. The only time that you really took it off is, when we were back at camp and getting ready to go to bed. Mm-hmm. But it was still close by.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Always.
It's always close by. And so that just kind of sold me on going with the chest rig versus some, because we even looked about it. I forgot to mention, we even looked at the thigh rig. Right. But I have worn the thigh rigs for other purposes. Mm-hmm. And the much movement and hiking and thick terrain and cover that we go through, I just don't see that being a viable.
Hate to, we already got to worry about possible blisters and everything else. As much as we hike and do everything, we don't want to have to worry about more on our legs.
Yeah, exactly.
Another positive to a chest rig is, for example, we're in bear country. If it's on your holster, on your, a side holster on your pack, you are either going to leave that on your pack or you're going to have to pull that pistol out. Okay? By having it on us at all times, man, we're cooking, we're cooking it up, and, we're having drinks and stuff like that. Do you have that on you? So when you're cooking and that scent's going down, if you get a surprise by a bear, you have it on you.
That's right.
Well, that's another positive. All right, that's a good question there. All right, moving on to our next question. So they asked, what are some things that you can cut out or do without? You want to take this one?
Sure. A couple of things could pop to mind. When we did our Colorado hike in.
That's exactly what came to my mind.
We had good intentions and we wanted to try to prepare for everything, but we were a little over zealous, I believe, in picking what we were going to take. And we ended up having some seriously heavy packs to go.
We did.
I forget how far did we? It was 10 miles, so like
12
miles.
Yeah, we were 12.
12 miles.
Yeah. Eventually 12. The first day, our first camping spot was 10. Yeah, but we ended up at 12.
Yeah. So I would say right off the bat, we brought too many clothes.
For sure.
And food. I would lump some food in there. I think we brought a little too much food with us that we could have gotten by, lighten the load a little bit there. We could have changed some options. But the big one, I think, was the clothes.
For sure. So I'm going to chime in. For sure, clothes. I think you and I both had a couple sets of pants and shirts and long sleeves and jackets and
hoodies,
wardrobe, everything in there. And we pretty much stayed in our same pants the entire time. We stayed in our base layers, I believe, the entire time. The only thing we changed out was our socks.
Yep.
So we had 3 or 4 pairs of socks apiece, and we were constantly rotating them But we pretty much stayed in everything else. Plus or minus a hoodie. We might have put on a hoodie. I don't think I ever put on the jacket. Well, yeah, I did one night, a horrible night. Had the jacket on and the slicker, and it was still horrible and wet. But other than that, man, we never put on the jackets and all the other junk that we had. We never had to layer up, really. So we had way too many clothes. You can cut some clothes out. Just, look at what you got. If you think you can manage, I would definitely pull what you can out. Without, causing yourself to freeze to death. You know what I mean?
Right.
Food. So you and I both, we gathered our daily food. We had Ziplocs of our daily food. We had everything, breakfast, dinner, supper, snacks in between, MtnOps in between that, extra snacks in between that. We had a ton of food. And I know for me, myself, when I weighed my pack, my bag of food, I had my bag of food for 9 days. It was 15 pounds.
Yep.
I guarantee you, after the 7 days or 8 days we stayed in there, can't remember.
8.
Was it 7 or 8?
8. It was 8.
So after the 8 days, I probably come out with 12 pounds of food still.
It's amazing, right?
It was. And I think, I counted the calories and all the junk. I think it was like 3,000 or 3,500 a day is what I kind of went for, because it was higher elevations and we planned on 10 miles a day. And, we figured we'd be burning a lot. So I had a lot. But, yeah, definitely I'm cutting that out. I'm going to cut that out this year, actually. We're going to slim down this year. So I would observe your food, and if you can cut corners there, I would look there. Another one comes to mind is optics, man. Was it you or no? It was you that carried the freaking spot scope.
Yes.
And how was that?
That's that's well, again, I think like that's where we come to the conclusion on our hunt is, well, when you may think that you're going to be able to use it, but once you get there and you evaluate your in your area and you realize that you can't use it, we might want to shuck that extra 10, 12 pounds.
Yeah. We made the decision to take it anyway. Everything looks different on Google Earth and Go Hunt maps and Onx maps. You really need to put boots on the ground and put your eyes on everything. Everything's a lot bigger. It always is when you get there. The timber's taller. The mountains are bigger. We should have made the decision right then to leave it in the truck.
Yeah.
But the whole thing of not knowing, the unknown, the plans that we had, it looked like there was a place to use it. So we took it. And that was an extra 8 to 9 pounds that we had to tote 12 miles deep. And we were going uphill the whole time. So, if you can get by with a good set of binos, the Timber 42s, man, they're like the all-around, you can do a lot of things with those. And if you can get by with those, if you're on a backpack style hunt, this is when I'm cutting this stuff out.
Correct.
Right. So if you're on a day hunt or a nice hunt where you're coming back to a lodge or camper or whatever it may be, or ATV, you can carry a few more things. But if you're hiking in there, yeah, so take a look at your gear, and if you can cut corners and do without, then ounces is pounds.
No question. Well, and I think a good thing to throw in there is, like you were saying with the 10x42, if you bring your tripod and you throw those 10x42s on the tripod, that just adds another level
yeah.
of, scouting with those binos that are really
Oh, shoot, yeah.
effective.
Shoot, yeah, man. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
So if you, like you said, if you think you could shuck it, especially during an archery hunt, I think if we moved over to a rifle hunt, I think
Yeah.
we've already come to the standard that we're going to have the scope period on a rifle.
Yeah, we're not leaving it behind. That is a and that's a good point to this question too. I don't know if this question was pertaining to archery hunting, or rifle hunting.
Sure.
So that brings a good point. If you're rifle hunting, I would do everything in my power to bring that spot and scope, and the phone
And
scope.
the Phoneskope. Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cost us bulls. It really has. If you or you and your buddy can withstand the pounds, that's a glassing game in the later hunts. So yeah, that cost us. All right. So next question, and this is a big one. So I'm new to elk hunting, and what are the must-have essentials that I would need?
Well, I would say your number one, or it could be number two, but I would say number one, you need a good pair of boots.
Sure.
Mountain climbing, good ankle support boots.
Yep, 100%. If you're a whitetail hunter or never hunted at all, usually whitetail hunters have some sort of hunting boot. I know I did. I had like Danners, and I had the Under Armour kind. They will get you by. I don't suggest them for long periods of time.
Right.
I suffered tremendously.
Or if you were a Midwest whitetail hunter like me, you had muck boots, and that would not get you by.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I after my first year of suffering, I did buy Crispis, and I got them right here. These are the Guide series. They're the taller boot. The non-insulated, I like the non-insulated. I've never had insulated boots just because my feet sweat. So if I am cold, I just wear a thicker wool sock, or merino wool sock. So that's what I do. I change my socks from light to medium to heavy, and I just keep the non-insulated boots. But I highly recommend Crispi. I've been running them for 5 years. Yeah, 5 years this year. And I've got 3 pair, and they are a lifesaver. They will save your ankles.
Big time.
There is a couple other brands out there as well. I can only speak for Crispi. I really didn't even have to talk much. Shelby seen my boots after the first year, and he had his own after that.
Got 2 pair.
2 pair. Yeah. So boots is a big one. That's good. I say a pack. I got this pack right here. So again, most normal everyday hunters don't have the big pack, the pack system that you'll need for big game. Hauling lots of gear, heavy loads, packing quarters out. You're definitely going to need one. That's a must-have that you're going to have to buy. You can get by. There's a few cheaper packs out there, but me, I like quality. I like quality stuff. They ain't cheap. They're not cheap. I run this Mr. Ranch. This is the Marshall. This is 6,400 cubic inch. I have 3 different Mr. Ranches, but on this hunt, I'm gonna carry this one, and I'm gonna carry the Mule, which is a day pack. So I want options. Okay. I'm gonna carry this big pack in case we have to hike in. That's not the plan, but I want that pack with me, in the truck, in the trailer. I'm gonna use it first. That way I have the extra, space and gear and for all my stuff that I need for several days. And this pack I stayed 8 days and was just fine. But the mule, I have the mule that it goes off the same pack frame. This is the Godlight MT frame. I can just literally unbuckle it, buckle on the mule, and I'm good to go to day hunt. And you kind of run a similar setup too, right, Shelby?
Yeah, I have I went from the Vario 65, which is 6,500 cubic inches, and I went to their Inmark K6, which is 6,000, so about 500 cubic inches less, but it did the job on our 8-day Colorado hunt, so I was pretty pleased with that. But you hit the nail on the head. You have to have a pack that is designed for that type of hunt and that type of terrain, because you got to think about carrying an animal out. You've got to think about carrying your gear. You got to think about water, and to go with something, to get you by, skate by, you're not gonna be happy, number one, and it's not gonna perform, and it won't last. For sure, it will not last.
Right.
So I would say, if you can, you don't want to scrimp on the boots, and you don't want to scrimp on the pack.
Nope. And I learned hard lessons on both of those right there. I had cheaper boots, and just from the damp of the morning dew every morning in the grass up there in the mountain in Colorado, my feet would be soaking wet, and I would have wet feet all day.
And that's miserable.
That was miserable. And I'll never forget, in 7 days, I killed my first bull with the bow on the last day of the hunt. And me and my brother had hiked 96 miles in those 7 days. And my feet were wet all week. I ended up buying sealskin socks just to try to prevent my feet from getting wet. And we wasn't even in snow or nothing. It didn't rain, nothing, man. That was just from the morning dew every day.
Right. So that should clue you in a good pair of boots to eliminate just a perfect hunt, really, right? That's
yeah, oh yeah.
That's a perfect hunt where you don't have, extreme weather.
And let me tell you, if you don't want to spend the $500, $400 on a pair of boots, and you want to try to get by, you can get by with boots. It just depends on your level of miserableness. But to try to save you from being like I did, I didn't have any of these right here. And you already know what I'm talking about, Shelby.
Yes, sir.
That's some gators.
Gators. Didn't know about gators until you told me about the gators.
Yep. Yep.
And I'll be honest. I'll be a little transparent, which we try to be. When you told me about them, I'm thinking, man, I got waterproof Crispi boots. I don't need no gators. What the heck? I mean, I love the gators. Go Gators. Shout out there in Florida. But this type of gator, trust me when I tell you, Brandon steered me in the right direction, and I will not go to the elk woods without at least 2 pair of gators. I have to back up. That's how I'm
I carry. Yep. That's a critical piece of equipment for us. I guess it's everybody's opinion, but to us, that's essential. Even with Crispis, I put the gators on when I'm hunting in snow, or when it's nasty and muddy, or when it's really wet, in the morning times, dew, stuff like that. I use those gators, and man, it really protects you from that water seeping in and running down your pants leg, or it really protects you. I know the first time, what made me a believer in these gators is I bought a pair just to try them out. And I put them on. I never worn them before, and it was in snow. And I had read, the purpose of them and everything. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna test this out. It was a foot of snow, And we hunted in that foot of snow in the high country in Colorado all day long. So we were hiking in that foot of snow, and my feet, I never felt an ounce of moisture or wetness. My pants were dry. My boots, of course, the outside of your boots down by the toe and stuff, it was wet. But I unstrapped the gaiter, and literally all the leather and stuff was still dry. Right then, made me a believer. If I didn't have those on, I guarantee you my pants would have been wet, sopping wet. Crispis are awesome. I don't think my socks would have ever got wet. But just the fact that everything else is dry and nothing seeped in, and oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where, I was going to say, when I went to Montana Rifle 2 years ago, it was probably close to knee deep, most of the areas that we were hunting in. Mm-hmm. And literally when we would stop to get at a glassing point or just stop for resting or eating, I would, either change layering, either layer up or layer down, depending on what we were doing. But I would take my gaiters off, and every single time from the knee down, my pants were dry. And one of the things that I noticed is there was a couple times where you and I struck out in I believe it was Idaho without our gaiters on early in the morning. And just what you were saying, which we didn't run into a lot of thick grass or anything we were running in, but it was that thick or that morning wetness. And I remember my top of my socks from the pants, my pants. They didn't come through the Crispis, just the pants being wet, and that wetness seeped down to the top of my socks.
Yep.
And ran down almost to, below the boot a little bit inside. Mm-hmm. So that's where the gaiter is going to save you.
So if it's a hot and arid hunt, if you're hunting mule deer in August or something, I wouldn't recommend gaiters. I wouldn't run them. If you're hunting Arizona or Nevada or something like that, I'd leave them in the truck. I'd probably still bring them, but I'd leave them in the truck. But if you're hunting any kind of weather, big, high, rugged, mountainous places, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, I would definitely have them. So you said something about water. I believe water is essential. Water bladder, filtration system.
Absolutely.
That is something that normal hunters don't really deal with. When I was a whitetail hunter, I carried a bottle of water with me. That was about it.
And I didn't carry that much of it because I didn't want to be peeing too much. So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If I did pee too much, that'd be my pee bottle.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I run. Shelby will like me for this one. I run the Badlands 3 liter. It's a little bit bigger. I also have a Platypus for a backup. They're both high quality, good brands. I have no complaints against either one of them. And that's just for the bladder. So for the filtration part, we run the Sawyer squeeze packs. And so your hose is on your pack, right? So I took it off to display this. But it runs down into your bladder, connects to your bladder, and it runs to your strap. Well, we figured out over the years this quick connect system where you can disconnect your little mouthpiece there, and you can connect this little gadget here. It screws into your filter, so you'll have a filter in between here, and let me see if I can get it above here. So you'll have a filter in here, and you can just gravity feed that into your bladder in your pack without ever pulling your pack apart and bladder out and all that stuff. That's what we used to do. Not no more.
Nope.
So that's really convenient. That's a little tip for you. But that's the water system that me and Shelby both run. He has the Badlands, and I have the Badlands and the Platypus. We both have the Sawyer squeeze. similar setups. What do you think another essential is there, Shelby?
Well, we covered boots, we covered packs, covered water filtration, water bladders.
I think, well, every hunter should have some kind of sleeping bag.
Yes. Yeah.
Of some sort. I mean, surely. But it kind of changes the game when you go out west. You have to, yes. So you have to change it up, man. You have to go, the warmth to weight ratio, you have to start thinking about that. So you automatically want to think about lightweight, especially if you're going to be packing that jugger on your back. So you can't be carrying no big Army cotton 80-pound sucker.
And the reason Brandon is mentioning that is because that's exactly what I had. I had my extreme cold weather gear sleeping bag, which was phenomenal in the military back in the day, but it weighs a ton.
It does. I have one, an older one like that too, for extreme cold climates. It ain't as quite as big and thick and heavy as his, but and that's what I'm assuming all like whitetail hunters or whatever, just regular campers. I'm assuming that's what everybody kind of starts out with, right? So we definitely had to change it up, and so I started looking into that, and the sleep system that I have, I went and bought. Here, I got it right here. I went and did my research, and I went with the Kuiu. So this is a Kuiu Super Down 850 feel, the 30 degree. Now they had a few, I think a 0 and a 15, I believe. I got the 30 degree, extreme lightweight. That thing, it just compacts to nothing. You can't even tell you're carrying it. And, really expensive. When you're talking about super down anything, it's really expensive. And so I'm buy once, cry once, and that's the one I got, and it's been good to me for about 4 years. For the sleeping pad, there's all kind of options out there. You just have to test them out. There's foam options and air options. I went with one that you air up. I can't even think of the name of it. Therma something. What's it called, Shelby? I'm drawing a blank.
I know, me too.
The Static V, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, got the Static V, the insulated one. It's wide, it's rigid because I sleep on my side. I like it. It's did good for a couple years. I was surprised to get a couple years out of it. Most things that you got to air up mattresses don't really last that long. So, anyway, it's done me well. I'm not opposed to looking into other options. I think you kind of looked into other options too this year, right?
Yeah, I've got the Badlands sleeping bag, the Cinder. I have the 30 degree, and I have the 0, or actually it's a -10 degree one. Now the -10 is a little heavier, a little thicker than the 30, but it's pretty lightweight. It's not as light as yours, which yours is like a feather. I mean, there's no doubt, man. That thing is that thing is super nice, super light. So if you're worried about weight and you really trying to cut weight, Brandon's is the way to go, no question. I don't think there's a lighter one out there made.
Yeah, I don't know. That thing's pretty light.
Yeah, it's like really having nothing. I mean, it's amazing how warm it'll keep you. But I went with the Cinder, and then I just speaking of the pad, the sleeping pad, like you said, mine did last 2 seasons. It lasted actually 2 seasons. I should take that back. But wouldn't hold air on our last hunt in Colorado. So I switched over to Badlands. They just put out a new pack, their Chempack or Chemapad, and I'm going to try that. So far, I mean, I've tested it here at the house. Seems to be okay. But you know, as anything, we like to put it to the test in the field in actual situations.
For sure.
But it seems well made. It is, you know, it has a Badlands lifetime unconditional warranty, so hopefully I won't need to use that. Like a little more use out of the sleep pad, but that's what I'm running. You know, it's a little heavier. The 30 degree one is a little compact. It'll pack down pretty tight, but it's still a couple pounds.
Gotcha. Yep. So, sleep system definitely we would recommend. You know, to suit whatever style hunt that you're aiming for, whether it be a universal one or something for extreme cold or something for early season. That's what I would suggest. If you had the money, buy one for each. And that's just your preference too. If you like the mummy bag, that's what mine is the bag, the mummy bag. But you can get the quilts. They make a lot of different options. So it's preference for what you're looking for and what you want, but there's a lot of great options out there. This definitely on the essential list for us.
Yes.
Something else that, you know, really was brought to my attention, and I put this on the essential list. When I started hunting out west, I knew nothing about public, private boundaries, lines, roads, yada, yada, yada. I knew nothing about none of that. You know, I'm from Louisiana, you know, hunted on hunting clubs, right? River bottoms, and then moved to Texas. Texas is like minimum public land, so I never had to worry about that. But hunting out west, you must have some sort of GPS or mapping system.
No question about it.
So, which brings to our other point of we use Onx. Onx and Go Hunt, actually. I'm not opposed to either one of them, but man, you gotta have something. There's no doubt about it. You have to have something. You have to know where you're at, especially hunting public land. There's a lot of private out there. You have to know where you're at. That is your butt if you don't.
Yep. And there's plenty of eyes watching you.
For sure. Plenty of eyes. But yeah, GPS mapping software. There's a few options. You know, Onx, Go Hunt Maps has a new mapping software. Base Map, Hunt Stand. I think they all have pretty similar capabilities. But I would suggest looking into your options right there and getting one of them that you prefer. I really like Onx. I've been with them the longest. I run it on my phone, you know, just an app or whatever. And we got a bajillion waypoints. And man, I live by that thing. It's killed me animals. It's kept me out of trouble. And yeah, I live by that thing.
It's definitely worth the cost. You know, you can do, especially with Onx, you know, you can do a single state if you don't want to spend the money on the all the states. You can just go with a single state, and it'll give you all the detail that you need. The boundary lines, what's public, what's private, BLM, what's, you know, state lands. It gives you everything. Plus, it has some other cool features that you get there. But the biggest one is just knowing where you're actually supposed to be.
Yep, that's the most important thing. Is just to make sure you know where you're at, and to make sure you are in your place where you're supposed to be legally. You know, especially if you're hunting boundary lines and stuff like that, which we find ourselves doing all the time. Yeah, you just got to have one. And you know, you mentioned something about features. Nowadays, you know, Onx and Go Hunt, those two I use religiously, and there's a ton of features. Lots of features. Those things are awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, I kind of find myself, you know, this can be a later podcast, but I find myself using both of them for different purposes, right? Like when you know, you zoom in, use your topo or your hybrid. When you zoom in on Onx and look at your hunting area and stuff like that, and trying to get the lay of the land, the trails and the meadows and the dark timber, north facing slopes, and all that stuff. You know, sometimes when you zoom in, it turns to snow. You know, they take that shot when it's wintertime, right? So you can't really get the information that you want that you normally can. You can get, you know, elevations and everything else, angles, but that, you know, I'll switch to Go Hunt. Go Hunt tends to have the earlier season shots of the same map, the same area, same topo, same everything of that area seems to have the green aspens, you know, the green grass that you can see through the trees, you know, the good north facing slopes. You could tell it's, you know, potential bedding areas, you know. So I find myself using both of them, but you know, we can talk about that in later podcast. So definitely a must have. Another must have, so I have it right here, is cooking system.
Yeah, that's important.
So, you know, you as a whitetail hunter, you know, and I'm not picking on you, but you know, you as a whitetail hunter, you know, go sit in your stand for 10, 12 hours. You have no need to cook nothing, right? I mean, you just bring a sandwich or whatever, right? Snacks.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't need no freaking cooking system. So we started elk hunting. Oh yeah, we ain't coming back to the camp every day, so
yeah,
we had to figure out, you know, how to cook, and you know, nowadays they're making all kind of cool stuff. We started out with the jet boil systems, and which is similar to this Campchef right here. But we started out with the jet boil systems, and they work okay. You know, and over the years we kind of learned their beliefs and their policies, and you know, what they believe and what they push, and they kind of go against the, you know, our beliefs and our hunting heritage. So that's what made me change. I changed to Campchef, and Campchef was actually cheaper, and it seems to be a better product to me. So that's just my opinion. But, and you know, they're for what we stand for as far as hunters and conservation. So I'm all for them. And I bought 2 of these little strikers, and man, I love them. So in this little gadget right here that I have, in this little bag, I got my lid, I got my fuel, and inside there's my actual burner itself. So I take my burner, it locks into my little pot, and screw in my fuel, and boom, within a minute you're boiling water, and you can do anything with that sucker right there. We've cooked mashed potatoes and
beans,
rice and beans, and we usually use Peak refueled and Mountain House freeze dried meals, and man, we're eating in about 5 to 7 minutes, you know. So that is a lifesaver in the mountain. You know, it's really compact. And it'll save you, you know. If you run out of water or whatever, and you know, you don't have your filter, and you want to boil water, you know, if you're scared to drink it or whatever, you know, you can boil it in there before you consume it. Man, that thing will cook anything. Light a fire, We had no matches, no lighter. It was like a torrential freaking flood in Colorado this past year. I remember lighting this sucker right here and putting a stick over there to light it. Man, it was instant. It's got a push light.
Yep.
That's how me and Shelby built the fire and got warm. We were soaking wet and deathly cold, and yeah, we were miserable. But that helped us get the fire going. It got us warm. So, Campchef Striker. That's what I suggest. Must have. Another. I'm trying to speed this up here. Another essential that we live by nowadays is charging systems.
Amen.
So if you're hunting in the backcountry, if you're hiking in the backcountry, and you're running your phone with your mapping system or your GPS or your smartwatch, your GPS watch, or your headlamp, all the electrical stuff, the gadgets and stuff that we have nowadays, you're going to need some way to keep them charged. And this right here is what we use, is Anchor. So, kind of found Anchor by accident. Me and Shelby both ran the Goal Zero rechargers and the solar panels, and they work somewhat. The first year they worked really well. By the second year, they kind of went to poop. So we had to jump ship, and just kind of looking around one day and found Anchor on Amazon, and wow, what a hit! That thing right there kind of saved us, right?
Oh, no question. I mean, I can't remember how many times it charged your cell phone while we were out there, and charged up the inReach.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, and it still had. I think at the end of it, it still had one or two bars.
Yeah, so we did a nice comparison. I think I had the Anchor, and Shelby had the Goal Zero with the solar panel, and man, I was just whooping him. Man, I was getting one charge after another, and he was struggling, and cloud come over, and he couldn't get.
Yeah.
So after that, he's like, you know what, man, I have to have one of those. So that's what I suggest. I wouldn't even go the solar panel route, based off our experiences. I think this Anchor right here is the 20 megahertz, or 20,000 megahertz. I'm sorry. Well, I have 3 of them. 2 of them worked really well. If you have 2 of them in an 8 or 9 day hunt, you shouldn't need anything else. Those are going to power everything you got for that 8 or 9 day hunt.
Yep, for sure.
Amazon, check them out. Okay, so 2 more essentials. One would be game bags.
Yes.
So game bags is something that the normal everyday hunter doesn't have, or doesn't have to worry about. You're usually loading up your deer or whatever on a 4-wheeler or a game cart, and backing the truck up to it, throwing them in there. Isn't quite that simple unless you're a landowner. It isn't quite that simple out west. So you got to have some game bags. Now, I've dealt with the old trash bag scene, and I wouldn't suggest it for a long period of time. It will get you by. Don't get me wrong. A pillowcase will get you by. Trash bag will get you by. But I wouldn't think for an extended period of time. Bacteria start setting in. Flies that get on it. Yeah, so a good antimicrobial game bag set. They're washable. You put all your quarters in there, all your meat in there. They're compact. You'll need them to put on your pack or whatever. Strap it all in there. Blood does go through them, and you can put a liner. You can line that with the trash bag, so you know blood won't get on your pack or whatever. But you have to have some good game bags. I run the Caribou Gear, the Wapiti. That's some good ones. I've also used the Black Ovis ones, and there's one more kind.
That's what I got. I got the Black Ovis.
You had the Black Ovis?
Yeah.
Argili or Argali, something like that.
Something like that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I've had 3 or 4 different sets. I've used the mule deer ones as well from Go Hunt. I think Go Hunt they have these carnivore gears or whatever. But I have the Wapiti and the mule deer. But yeah, man, you gotta have those. And the last one is calls.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, in the whitetail woods, other than, you know, you can have a grunt tube or rattling horns, but it seems more of a calling sport most of the time for elk hunting. So, good cow call, whether you're a mouth caller or a hand call like a hoochie mama style call. You know, I would say calls is a must when you're elk hunting. Bugle tube, mouth calls, hand call.
And I would say too, man, that for me, I had some other calls, mouth calls before. I mean, I turkey hunted, so mouth call was not something new to me. But obviously, making elk sounds was definitely something new. But Brandon turned me on to the Phelps calls, and their mouth calls, and this is coming from a total rookie on elk calling. The way easier to operate, way easier to get the proper sounds out of, and they sound really, really good.
For sure. I used Rocky Mountain calls, and good calls, don't get me wrong, really good calls. I have one of their bugle tubes. I have a bunch of their latex mouth calls. I can blow them. They sound really good. I just find that the Phelps calls are more user friendly, just easier to blow. And they also sound really good. So that's what we use, Phelps game calls. You can see right here. So here's one of the bugle tubes. It's one of the bugle tubes I'll be running this year, the Renegade. You see all the new mouth calls I got right there on the table. The Maverick. Gotta have the Maverick.
That's it. Talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Goose. But anyway, so that's what we use. We definitely suggest that you get you some calls, get familiar with them, watch YouTube videos. Dirk Durham, the bugler, you know, Phelps, they all have videos that you can watch to learn how to call. Definitely practice during the summer before you go, so you're not out there sounding horrible. But definitely, I think calls is essential. You know, not just trying to locate animals, but also when you get in close, you know, bow hunting, you know, to stop an animal, you know, have that call in your mouth to stop an animal, you know. Gotta have them.
Definitely.
Okay, so next question was, what calls do I need? Well, we kind of just answered that. So if you're going to get calls, mouth calls, you know, and mouth call, if you don't have a gag reflex, you know, or some sort of allergen where you can't put that in your mouth, you know, then use a hand call, you know. Primos, I think they have the Hoochie Mama. That's been known to kill some elk, you know. You know, we kind of make fun of those guys, but go ahead and buy them anyway.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, you know. It's all good. If it'll kill an elk, you know, get familiar with it. There's a couple different bugle tubes out there. Some you have to have mouth calls to use, and then some you don't. I think there's an easy tube out there now. I think Phelps has an easy tube that you don't need anything. You can just get after it. Primos has some older bugle tubes that you can use with no mouth call in there. So, like I say, just get familiar with your tool. We say these are tools for the trade, so get familiar with your tool before you go field.
Yeah.
Last question before we move on. What do we do for headlights? Well, that's a great question. Really great question. Me and Shelby both ran a couple different styles of headlights. In the whitetail woods, what kind of headlights do you run?
I mainly had a Browning system where it had white, red, and green, and then also had for a backup I had a Cyclops.
Gotcha. Okay. I think I had a Browning as well. I know I had a Cyclops. I want to say I had something else, little knockoff lights, with the reds and the greens and the little flashing whites and all that stuff, right? I always seem to run out of batteries, and now I never really had anything rechargeable until I ran across Txtorches. So that's what we both use now, and I'll show you right here. So Txtorches is what we both use, and let me tell you, that's been a game changer. So rechargeable, lifetime, limited lifetime warranty, fully waterproof. They have the red and the white, extremely bright, lasts forever, very, very durable. I've dropped mine. I carry this, put it on my hard hat at work, and the white one, and I've accidentally took it off and dropped it like 40 feet, and it hit the concrete. Well, I thought it was done. Any other light I think would have been done. And sure enough, man, got it. You cracked the glass a little bit, but that sucker still works. I still got it. Yeah, still got it. Still use it all the time. Yeah, these have been a game changer for us. I use them if it's predator hunting. The Predator series is the red light, and the Elite series is the white light. And LED, and we carry both of them. Like hiking we'll use the red one. We don't want to scare game or whatever. And I use it all the time down here in South Texas. We hunt nilgai and predators and stuff. We're big at predator hunting down here, hog hunting. We have lots of hogs, so that red light is the ticket down here in South Texas with predators and exotics. And as a matter of fact, while hunting nilgai down here in South Texas, I walked up on an 8-point. I wasn't filming. I had some other people with me, but I walked up on an 8-point. I could have spit on him. He was laying down, and I had the red light on. And I just held it on him. I walked all the way up to him. I didn't want to get gored, so I wasn't gonna pet him. But yeah, he just sat there, and he wasn't boogered at all, man. He just laid right there, and when I finally got too close, kicking brush and stuff, he kind of bounced off. But crazy. The red light's awesome. Super, super bright. White light's super, super bright. I use it, packing out, coming out at night, when we down something and we're taking care of game. They've been a game changer for us, and I highly recommend them. And as a matter of fact, they are sponsoring this podcast. So, Txtorches. Check them out. Texas is txtorches.com.
Definitely worth it.
All right, so we're just going to run through the list of what we're doing for our Montana gear list. We're going to try to speed this up a little bit. We took a little bit of time on that. We're just going to give you a quick rundown of what our gear list looks like for this Montana early archery elk hunt. All right. Hit me with it, Goose.
Well, we're definitely going to, for our pack, I'm running, like I said, the MRK6.
That's Badlands, right?
Yeah, by Badlands. Definitely our water filtration system will be in there. The water bladder, 3 liters. Going to be running the Crispi boots. I'm running the Nevadas, and we didn't mention it too, but I just got me a new pair of Sheepfeet. I'm going to be putting them in there.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
My Badlands camo, I'm going to be with the Approach, Badlands Approach camo. Definitely going to need our MtnOps, our Ignite, our Yeti, and maybe throw in some Blaze, our Vortex Optics, and rangefinder, binos. We didn't talk about it, but definitely our tent, our TP style tent that we have, stove, and we're sliding the bunk beds. We got some disco bunk beds to throw in there. Calls. Going to be bringing my Phelps calls and my Phelps mouth calls and bugle tubes. Going to have our Hero, my camera here. My hopefully it's working properly. My Hero 10. I definitely going to have my blades in there. I'm going to have my man, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Outdoor Edge knives with the replaceable blades. My Mountain Money. Game bags, and I'm gonna do my bow sling, my TK bow sling, and obviously my tooth of the arrow broadheads and my arrows and my bow.
Oh, show. And
tripod and 550 cord too. That's pretty much a quick lit. Oh, my Texas torches will be there. That's pretty much what I'm gonna have for my Montana archery hunt.
All right. I'll give you a quick rundown of what I got. So, for my pack, I'm gonna run this Mystery Ranch Marshall. This is the bigger 6,400 cubic inch. This can be an everyday pack or the extreme long backcountry hunt. I'm also going to be running the Mule, which is going to be my day pack. I'm probably going to run it as well because we're going to be our plan is in our area we're going to have our main camp and we're going to day hunt every day from that camp within a few miles. We're not going to be hiking extreme distances. We're going to be hunting fairly close and coming back every day. So this is comfortable. This pack is comfortable, so I don't have a problem running that. Hopefully we put an elk in it. So that's the 2 packs. Water filtration system, I went over it, but the 3-liter Badlands, and I have the 2-liter Platypus with my filtration system from what's it called? Sawyer. Got my Sawyer. What else? My Crispi boots. So I'm gonna be running the Guide series and the Nevada series, and I have the Thor 2 GTX. So I think this particular hunt, I'm gonna run the Thor 2 GTX and the Guide series. I think that's the 2 that I'm gonna bring. Okay, and speaking of boots, also Sheepfeet orthotics. Golly, I can't stress enough, man. Those have been a savior. I have bad knees. Shelby has bad knees. We both, have to get injections in our knees for other reasons, and those orthotics has really helped our knee situation. And man, they fit to you, fit to your feet, custom fit to your feet. I got them in all my boots. Shelby has them in all his boots. I'm not going to wear any boots without them anymore. To be honest with you.
Me either. I got them in my tennis shoes right now as we're speaking.
Yeah, I got them in my work boots and my hunting boots. Yeah. But socks, I run Txtorches socks, the lightweight, the Montana, the mediums, and the heavyweight. So I'll have those. Clothes, I run everything Sitka. I'm Sitka Gear, everything. So I kind of have a limit of what I'm going to bring. I'm not going to bring everything I got, of course. But the pants I'm going to run is the Timberline pant, and that's all I got. That's all I'm bringing. Timberline pant, the good base layer, the merino lightweight. I'm going to go with a lightweight merino base layer, top and bottom. The lightweight shirt. I have one hoodie, and I'm gonna have one Jetstream jacket just in case. And then for the slicker suit, I'm gonna have the Cloudburst slicker suit, all Sitka. Okay, for food, I run the Peak Refuel. I do have some Mountain House. I like them both. I kind of pick and choose. We've kind of run through what tastes good and what don't. So I have both, but mainly Peak Refuel. I like their products. Honey Stingers for snacks and a good little recharge. MtnOps. They have some really good protein bars, and of course supplements and Ignite and Yeti. I love MtnOps. We have a lot of MtnOps stuff in our boxes, in our packs. We love their stuff. It really gets us going, gives us that boost and the energy that we need. And they have good supplements too, like the Solitude for high country hunts. If you're getting elevation, you need that extra protection from altitude sickness.
Especially when you're coming from 0 altitude.
Yeah, exactly. 0 altitude. So, definitely some good stuff from MtnOps. Like Shelby mentioned, our tent and stove setup. We do hunt from a cargo trailer, but we are going to stay in a nice Seek Outside teepee style hot tent. Really big. It's a nice tent. We've used it a few times. It's really nice. Lots of room. We can stand up, do everything that we need to do. Get dressed, get our gear packed, and everything we need to do without having to crawl around. And so that's a plus to that. The bunk bed system, that's new for this year. We have borrowed some and used them and really liked them, so we bought some of our own. Really good bunk bed system by Disco Bed. So we're going to use those inside the tent. So that's how big this tent is. It's 14 or 15 foot around at the base, and that's the Red Cliff. Okay, we are going to carry the stove just in case it gets really cold. If we need to heat ourselves up, we do have a propane heater, the little buddy heater or whatever. We can hook to propane in case something fails with the stove, but we like to have both options. So we are going to bring it on this trip. Of course, our sleeping bags and sleeping pads and all that stuff. Optics. So for this trip, we are going to bring spot and scope. Shelby's waiting to purchase his spot and scope, and mainly me and him together. We only need one anyway because we both have some fine pair of binoculars. So I have the spot and scope, and it is a 15 by 45 by 65 Vortex Viper. We both run Vortex Optics, and we both love them. I'm really impressed, very happy with Vortex. The binos that I have are the range finding binoculars. They're the Fury HD 5000s. They're not the applied ballistics ones, although I think within the next year I will purchase those just for the long range shooting that we do or would like to do more of. But those are about a year old now, or almost a year old. I did have to replace those. Vortex replaced those for me after mine took a tumble down the mountain. They took a tumble all the way down the mountain in Colorado. Now still usable. I'll give it to them. I watched those suckers fall and hit rock after rock. I just cringed.
Yes.
Cringed watching my binoculars bounce off rocks, and I just knew they were toast. But I went all the way down there and picked them up and climbed all the way back up, and you know what? I finished the hunt, and they didn't break, and Vortex honored their warranty, and we had a hunt within 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yep.
And they rushed those out for me and took care of me and got me a new pair before the hunt. You know, and last year with COVID and everything else, shipping and getting products and stuff was so backed up. It was unbelievable. And Vortex made that happen for us. So shout out to Vortex.
Yep.
So calls. We already went over the calls. Run Phelps bugle tubes and mount calls, and we're both going to have all those with us. Charging systems, anchors, we're both going to have the anchors. Everything we're going to need to charge our cameras, GoPros, phones, our mapping system, GPSs, or smartwatches. We both run smartwatches, GPS watches. So headlights. We want to make sure everything is charged. Our big cameras. We have a lot of equipment, and our anchors take care of all of it for us. So we will have those. As far as cameras go, big camera that's filming right now is a Sony A6600. It's the Alpha series. I really love the camera. It's a great camera with the Rode Video Mic Pro, and it is awesome. I do like that camera a lot. That's the main camera. I have the GoPro Hero 7 or 8. I forget. 7, I think. And you have the 10, right, Shelby?
Yeah, I have the 10.
Yeah. So we got a handful of cameras. I have a Canon Vixia for a backup. I hardly ever have to pull it out anymore because the Alpha is the Alpha. What can I say? That's kind of about it. Let's see. Oh, my kill kit. So what does my kill kit look like? So I have 550 cord. I keep a plastic baggie with my license and a pen in there. I want to have all that together so when I do tag out, I don't have to be scrambling and looking. So that's all in there. Outdoor edge knives. I like the 3.5 with the replaceable blades. Extra replaceable blades. We can skin a whole elk with just very few blades. No sharpener. You don't need all the extra junk. It's really lightweight. Really like Outdoor Edge products. I have several of their knives. What else?
We also have their Chow Pal, Outdoor Edge Chow Pal.
Oh yeah, the Chow Pal, which is it's like a spork and like a little knife and a little kit for eating our meals and stuff. Really handy little gadget. It's lightweight. What else is in the kill kit there, sir? I think that's about it. I really don't use I have used latex gloves, but I kind of find myself not taking the time to put them on. I just do it. So, I really don't have latex gloves in there. So yeah, that's about it on that. Trekking poles. We are going to run our trekking poles on this hunt, and I do highly suggest those, especially rough terrain, heavy packs, and packing out.
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, so if you don't have trekking poles, man, cut you a stick or something. But just that little bit of leverage and stability, man, it helps so much. It's crazy.
Down in Colorado, that pair I had saved me. I bent them, so I had to buy a new pair this year. But it saved me from falling freaking 20 feet off a mountain.
Shoot, yeah. Going back to the sleeping system, you know, the Kuiu. I'm gonna have the Kuiu, and Shelby's gonna have the Badlands. I think that'll do the trick, no matter what the weather is. Those two right there do the trick. Oh, and something else new that we're gonna try this year is, you know, we kind of learn through experience. Even though we have these awesome boots, great socks, great gear, we're gonna try these two different kinds of boot dryers out.
Oh, that's right.
You know, just because our feet sweat, you know, especially, I don't know why. And in snow, my feet sweat worse than in hot early archery seasons. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I find myself, maybe it's wearing too many clothes and hiking and getting my sweat on or something.
I mean, it's definitely not your socks, because you wear thin socks, lightweight socks. So
yeah, definitely not the boot.
It's not insulated.
I'm just a hot-natured guy, man. I sweat. I'm a heat box. What can I say?
We need to definitely have a boot dryer.
But I'm trying a boot dryer. I mean, Amazon. You know, I kind of researched them on Amazon. Me and Shelby talked. We say, hey, I'm gonna try this one. Hey, you try this one. We're gonna compare. So we're gonna compare and contrast on this hunt. We've both kind of tested them out. I'm happy so far. So we'll see. Mine's a G-Force Extreme Dry. I can dry a pair of boots and a pair of gloves at the same time, or two pair of boots at the same time. And what kind did you get?
I got the Pete. I'm drawing a blank on which.
It's a Pete dry, right?
Yeah, it's a Pete. Man, why am I drawing
Sorry to put you on the spot there.
No, I'm drawing a blank. It's the Pete Dryer Advantage.
Pete Dryer Advantage. And yours, it would do two pairs of each, right? As well.
Yes, it's got two pairs of each. It says that it will, and don't hold me to this, guys. This is what they're saying. They're saying it'll dry up, 2 to 4 hours. Anything will be dry. So it's the actual full name is the Pete Advantage Plus Heated Shoe and Boot Dryer.
Gotcha.
So it will do two pair of boots, and it will run up to 4 hours, and they pretty much guarantee that it will dry your boots in that amount of time. So you have a heated mode, and then you just have a blower mode for cool air, your choice. And we're going to test them out, and we'll have a full report when we complete our hunt.
Yep, we're going to put them to the test. Mine's kind of the same thing. It's on a timer, like a 3-hour timer, heat or no heat. So, yeah, we'll see. I've tried my son's boots he left out in the rain in the back of my truck. So, hey, it worked with those. Dried those in 3 hours. So, happy so far. We'll see how it performs out there in the field. And to run those dryers, we obviously have to have more than an anchor, right? We have to have some kind of source. So we are going to have to carry a small generator. I have a 2,000 watt little portable generator that we're going to run. We're going to have with us just for the boot dryers and, just for backup sake. We are going to have a lighting system so we can shoot our bows at night when we come back after our hunts, which I highly suggest that you do.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to have the generator with us. Speaking of bows, I didn't even talk about my bows. So, bows I'm going to run, bows I have is the Matthews, the Vertex. I have two Vertexes, identical. The same sight, same rest, same everything. That way I can interchange them in case something happens on the mountain. We're 1,500 miles away from home. We're hunting in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to have to run several hours or ruin my hunt because I broke a string or whatever. So I have a spare, and I'll have both of those with me. Of course, shooting my Tooth of the Arrow broadheads. If you haven't seen them, I would definitely check them out. They got a great product, super sharp, solid, man, super solid broadheads. They fly straighter than anything I've ever seen. It's crazy. I've shot a lot of different broadheads. Definitely suggest those. They have the solid veins or whatever, and then they have the open ones, ported, I guess you can say. I have both. The 125 grain is what I shoot. Tested the 175 grain. They got some good stuff. So we killed the one elk in Idaho in 2020 with the Tooth of the Arrow, and it did some damage. And you know what? We pulled that broadhead out of that elk, and it looked like it was never shot.
Yep.
So still super sharp, and it went through a shoulder, rib cage, and now on into the esophagus. I mean, fletching deep. So, anyway, Tooth of the Arrow broadheads, Black Eagle arrows, running the carnivores. I'm 550 grains. My TNK bow harness. Man, that thing is awesome. I'm excited to get to use that. I haven't got to use mine yet, so I'm excited on that. But that's about it. Me and Shelby, we're looking at different, like as far as a base camp cooking system and a base camp shower system. We have portable showers that we use, and I say portable because they're like the little sun showers. We just fill up water and we put them out in the sun, and hang them up in a tree, take a shower. Works great. We've used a couple different brands of those, and we're definitely going to have them with us, but we are talking about having some more luxurious items. But our only concern is mobility. That's the main thing, and mobility is key. We want to stay mobile as much as we can. We don't want to set out a huge camp with all this stuff going on, and then there's no elk there. We have to pack up.
Pack it up and relocate.
Pack it up and relocate, which we've done lots of times. But the less stuff you have and the easier it is to do that, and the more mobile you are, your chances increase of finding elk, staying on elk. Because it can be a pain in the butt to set up camp, and it takes a lot of time, and that's time you could be hunting.
Yep.
But anyway, I think that's about it for our gear list. We hope that you've learned something. If you stuck with us, we appreciate it. Like I said, we've been working on other projects, and we're trying to stay busy, trying to get content out there, in the off season and stuff. We got some cool hunts coming up, and hopefully we can keep getting some stuff to you guys.
Definitely, man.
We're gonna.
I didn't run it through. I forgot my setup too. I didn't know. Should throw out there.
Yeah.
I'm running as far as the bows, running the Matthews Z7 Extreme. My backup is the Switchback, and they're not exactly the same. Obviously, they're two different style bows, but they're pretty close. It's just the Z7 is a newer little model than the Switchback, but I love them both. They're both super accurate. But I'm running on my sight, which I changed, which I learned the hard way. I went from a single pin to a 5-pin sight. I run the Axle Carbon AccuTouch. Super, super light, but it gives you, up to 60 yards, and then you can dial in after that. I've got everything sighted in to 100. But when action's happening quick and elk are moving in, you don't need time to have a sliding sight to try to move your yardage.
Yeah.
So I switched to that, and then I definitely switched from I was running ACCs for forever, and I switched to the Black Eagle Carnivores. Love them with the tooth of the arrow. And the biggest thing that I would add to the tooth of the arrow is, like Brandon was saying, they're everything he said and more. But here's a little tip. If you're tired of shooting broadheads at your targets and destroying them, with tooth of the arrow, you can, if you want, I mean, by all means, but once you shoot it and you realize it's flying exactly the same as your field tips, your targets will last extremely longer. So that is what, and Brandon showed me too. And literally, what was it, 2 days before we were leaving, or a day before we were leaving?
Yeah, something like that.
And I switched broadheads, which never happens to me. I was running another broadhead, and Brandon's like, man, shoot this. And sure enough, it flew exactly the same. I didn't have to change anything, and I'm still running it, and it still shoots the same. The 125 grain, like I said, we're running the vintage series. They are phenomenal, super sharp, and they are tough. When they say they're machined out of a solid piece of steel, they're true, and it's American made. So
yep, 100%, 100%. We'll have a link in the description too for those. There's a code you can use to get 15% off Tooth of the Arrow. Awesome product. Awesome product. Keep it American.
Amen.
Anyway, now we're gonna sign off and hit you guys next time.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, later. Thank you guys for listening to Zero Altitude Outdoor Podcast. We appreciate any feedback, positive or negative. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Zero Altitude Outdoors.